Thank you. Welcome everybody to this Sunday morning service here at Salt and Light Christian Church. The story I have for you all this morning is from John chapter 21. At the very end of the book, the story of Jesus and the disciples' breakfast. And so, at this time, this is after Christ's crucifixion and resurrection, and the disciples, as you can imagine, were kind of tossed into this wayward state of being unsure of what to do or where to go yet. And so many of them decided, mainly Peter, he decided to go back to what he knew. And so he went to go fishing one night, and several of the disciples decided to go with him. A group of 7 of them all decided to go fishing. And all night they worked and went fishing and couldn't catch a single thing. I assume they had a pretty difficult and frustrating night. However, when dawn broke in the morning, they saw a man walking along the shore. And at first they didn't recognize him, but this man was Jesus. And Jesus called out to them and asked, "How has their fishing gone? Have they caught any fish?" And the disciples replied, "No, we haven't caught any." And so Jesus recommended that they toss their nets off the right side of the boat and that they would catch some fish if they did that. And so the disciples did as Jesus recommended, and they tossed their nets over the right side of the boat, and immediately their nets just filled with fish to the point that they couldn't even haul them back into the boat. They were just too heavy. And so while this was happening, John, who was one of the disciples there, recognized Jesus for who he was on shore, and he said to the other disciples, that is the Lord. And Peter, looking up and hearing this from John, having the recognition himself, finally realizing that this was Jesus, jumped out of the boat and rushed ashore to see Jesus. The other disciples brought the boat in with their catch. And as the disciples came ashore, Jesus had already had a fire going with some fish and some bread cooking on it, and he welcomed them to join him and bring the fish that they had caught to have breakfast with him. After this, they went on to have a discussion, mainly between Jesus and Peter, where Jesus reestablished Peter after his denial. However, we see from this instance, from this story, not only the beautiful miracle of Christ's provision of their great mighty catch, over 150 fish, large fish in these nets, so heavy that they had to drag them ashore, couldn't even bring them onto the boat as was normal. But more than that, we see Christ's compassion and his love for his disciples. He already had breakfast ready. He already knew what they needed, what they would want, and he welcomed them to come and enjoy it and spend time with him and to talk with him. This was the 3rd time that Jesus revealed himself to his disciples after his resurrection. And shortly after this, Christ would give his disciples the Great Commission, reminding them and commanding them to go and to spread the gospel. And so, I would like to remind you guys with this story of our Lord's compassion and provision for us, but also of our duty to go out and to perform our part of obedience to him. So thank you. Let's bring the music up.